Nebraska recruiting has been on fire, and Matt Rhule just found a new competitive advantage to propel the Huskers to the top of the recruiting rankings: the Polynesian pipeline. Nebraska is going after multiple 4-stars and 3-stars from Hawaii and the West Coast. So in today's video, I'm going to break down who these players are, what do they bring to the table, why is this important, and inevitably, will the Cornhuskers land their talents in a search for a top 10 recruiting class? So real quick, before we get into it, if you like the content, please hit the like button on this video. It's completely free and it helps me out, along with subscribing to the channel. We're on the road to 3,000 subscribers here on the Wilston Sports page. We're making Nebraska football content almost every single day, and we're just getting started. I have so much planned throughout the summer and the fall season, so please hit that sub button to support me and Nebraska football. But without further ado, let's dive right into it, talking about Husker recruiting, specifically the Polynesian pipeline. Starting off with, why is this important? Why is it important that Matt Rhule is going after these states, Hawaii, California, Nevada? And it all goes back to the fact that Polynesians stick in packs. Every single year, we're watching Pac-12 football. We're watching the Rose Bowl, and we're seeing studs for Utah, USC, UCLA make plays at that linebacker spot, O-line spot, D-line spot. And we're asking ourselves, where did these guys come from? And the truth of the matter is, Nebraska has never had an opportunity to recruit them ever before because they're all going to the same schools. They're staying local. None of them are going out east. They're never going to the SEC, Big Ten, ACC. And that's changing. Nebraska is trying to change that, and they're going after Hawaii extensively in the top talent in that state. Now, how is this even possible? How is Nebraska recruiting this state? And it's not Matt Rhule, it's actually Donovan Raiola who's doing the job. Now, if you're not familiar with who he is the O-line coach for Nebraska, and he has strong Polynesian descent. And he made it a priority when he was hired by the Cornhuskers to strongly recruit these Polynesian states to go over and get this top talent, and he's doing just that. So without further ado, let's jump into some of the talent that Nebraska is going after and some of the guys that they are projected to land. Starting off with Alai, I butchered that last name, Kalaniuvalu, who comes out of Nevada, top 200 player. He plays offensive guard along with center. And man, when you look at his measurables, about as good as it gets. 6'4", 300 pounds. His offer list: Bama, Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan State. Everybody in the country wants this guy. And as of right now, he is a Nebraska lean. He's scheduled an official visit for the spring game. And when it all goes back to why he's so interested in Nebraska, a guy from Bishop Gorman over in Nevada, it's because of Donovan Raiola. That connection is so strong. He said in an interview that connection with Donovan Raiola and Matt Rhule is the number one reason he wants to go over to Lincoln, because he believes in what we're doing offensively. He believes in having that close ties with the coaching staff. So that's the number one thing, and it's something I've talked about extensively in the past, is that Nebraska is all about building connections, not only with players, not only with families, but with high school coaches. So that's something that Matt Rhule, that's something that Donovan Raiola is doing, is that not only when they're going to land a top-tier player, they're also going to build a connection with that high school coach, that in a couple more years when another top talent comes from that high school, they're going to be in a position to come to Nebraska as well. So, man, this would be a big get. Alai, Kalaniuvalu. And really, I mean, when we talked about him, 6'4", 300 pounds, it's all about building up that O-line, D-line. This guy, one of the better players in the entire country from that pipeline spot. So that would be huge. Top 200 player, offers all over the country. That's your first guy to watch out for. Now let's go to Hawaii. That first guy was from Nevada, from Las Vegas. Let's get to Aiden Manutai, 4-star out of Hawaii, 6 foot tall, 170, and plays free safety. Now, when I was watching his film, complete ball hawk, a guy who, when there's a ball in the air, he's going to go up and high point it, get the interception. Great speed, has a way of sniffing out that football, making tackles, really athletically gifted. And a guy who is another strong interest in Nebraska. When I was looking over the recruiting sphere for him, not only is Nebraska in the race for him, but it looks like 2 other schools, Washington and then Penn State, trying to land his talents. But this is a real deal safety. Again, 4-star. Everybody's trying to get him. And again, guess who's going after him? Donovan Raiola is trying to get his talents as well, and he's going to come on a visit to Nebraska in June. So watch out for Aiden Manutai, another one of those Polynesian ballers who plays in the secondary. And then let's go to the number one player in the state of Hawaii. Let's go back to that O-line spot. Houston, I'm going to butcher this last name, Kaahaaina-Torres. Listen, at 6'3", 270, and again, the number one player in the entire state of Hawaii, plays offensive guard, and this guy's just a straight baller. I mean, the first guy we talked about was a 4-star, top 200 player. Houston might just be as good. He was named the MVP at a Rivals camp a couple weeks ago. And when you look at his offer list, he's looking for those Polynesian schools, California, Arizona State, Michigan State's in the mix as well. So historically, these are the type of schools that go after Polynesian talent. But right now, Nebraska's of strong interest there as well. And really, Nebraska's been having so much success in the state of Hawaii, not only with Houston, Kaahaaina-Torres, or Aiden Manutai, but let's look at last class. In 2024, the Cornhuskers landed the number one player in Hawaii, and that was Prison Tomoa, who played offensive guard. And again, there's strong connections there. So a lot of times, these Polynesian players want to stick in packs. You already have a couple of Polynesian players on campus, and it helps that you have Don Raiola as well coaching that O-line. So, man, those are 3 stud players. All of them are listed about high 3-star, low 4-star range. Of course, the first guy we talked about, Alai, I'm going to butcher this last name, Kalaniuvalu, top 200 player, about as good as it gets. That's a real deal player, guys. And he plays center, he plays guard. These guys are ballers, and it's all thanks to Don Raiola. Now, what does this mean for the Cornhuskers? Like I talked about at the start of the video, Nebraska is tapping into a talent pool that we've never accessed before. That only means good things going forward. Every year we watch Utah. Every year we watch USC. And they have studs at the O-line spot, D-line spot, linebacker spot, who we could never recruit in the past. And they're going in the first round of the NFL draft. They're going in the second round. No longer are those days. We're getting top-tier talent from all over the country. And not only is it the West Coast, but Matt Rhule's going after Texas, Florida. He's going after both coasts, East and West. So that really shows you that, and he wants everybody, and he's going to build connections. And speaking of connections, we're building real connections in Hawaii. Don Raiola is consistently over there recruiting. Tony White is recruiting California a lot. So again, we're all over the West Coast getting these guys. And again, it all goes back to a competitive advantage. No other team in the Big Ten is getting Polynesian talent besides the new additions in Oregon, USC, UCLA. But we're talking about the older Big Ten teams. None of those guys are getting Polynesian talent. That is a huge competitive advantage that we're getting, and we're tapping into a talent pool that those guys don't even have access to. So that's the number one thing. Number two thing is that these guys are straight ballers. I mean, they're 4-stars. They're at most, we've seen 5 stars come out of those states, which only means that Nebraska's opportunity of getting a top 15, top 10 class is increasing. So, man, oh man, this is huge. It's something I've talked about extensively in the past, right? Nebraska had a D-line coach by the name of Tony Tuioti, who was recruiting Polynesian talent. We had the number one Hawaii player in the class of, I believe, 2021. By the name of Wyndon Huahuli, who committed to Nebraska under Tony Tuioti. Then Tony left to go to Oregon. Wyndon ended up transferring to Hawaii. He's balling out over there. And I thought the Polynesian pipeline was dead. But then we hired Don Raiola, and he's made it stronger than ever. And we're about to get 3 or 4 super talented guys from these states to try to get us a top recruiting class. So let me know what you think about this down below. Who are you excited to land in the class of 2025? It's looking really good to be a Nebraska recruiting fan. So again, let me know that down below. As always, again, make sure to like the video, subscribe if you don't want to miss out on any more Nebraska recruiting updates. And then go Big Red, go Matt Rhule. Hey, go Don Raiola for getting these Hawaii players, and go Big Red. See you in the next one.